Tanner, thanks for joining us on the show, man. How's everything going over there in your neck of the woods?
Pretty good, man. I mean, hey, we're all trapped inside our houses, but we're living, we're making do, pretty much clean the house as much as one could possibly clean it at this point. Now I'm building a garden. Who knows what's next? Might get a cow, might get pigs. I don't know, but whatever I can do to keep myself occupied.
Are you on like a farm or something over there? Is that...
No. Actually, on the contrary, man, we're on like not even an acre of land. It's just funny. We're just like, we already have the pool and the fire pit and our deck and stuff. And I'm like, well, there's nothing else I can do in this house. I'm going insane over here because my business is very slow right now. And I'm just going to do whatever I can, man, to keep this, keep trucking through. Thankfully, we made a sufficient amount of music during this quarantine. So, for our fans out there, early 2021, we'll have something else for you aside from what we just released. So pretty excited about that. But yeah, how about you? How are you doing over there?
Yeah, not too bad, man. I'm still working, funny enough.
Yeah.
I'm out, customer service.
Fun. I'm in restoration. So it's like mold and asbestos and lead, pretty nasty stuff. But yeah, it's brutal. It can be brutal. Yeah.
So, of course, man, I've just checked out your debut album, Revenge, Forgiveness, Recovery, and, man, it's a killer album. You've done so well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, man.
But it seems like, from what I've heard, you guys went through a hell of a lot personally to get there. What happened along the way to get you to that point?
Well, it's funny. We all kind of had our own things going on personally. At the time, kind of a early 20 crisis type situation, I guess, a few years back. I had a couple of things going on. I had lost a couple of friends. One was suicide. One was actually murdered. I lost my grandmother, who was very, very close and dear to me. Girl who I was going out with forever decided to cheat on me that same day my grandmother died. It was tough, really, really tough. So on top of that, Tim Lucier, our guitarist, his daughter got diagnosed with leukemia. She had it for 3 years. She actually just beat it last year. So knock on wood, stays out of her system. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was tough, man. And it was weird because Tim and I had always talked. We always knew each other through the music scene. We were both in a couple of different local bands at the time. We're talking 6, 7, 8 years ago. And we both kind of stopped playing music at the same time. And then just one day I was, going through a thing. I was actually driving back from a long full day hike with my dog. At like 1 a.m, I decided to try and call Tim because he's a night owl. He's always up to like 4 a.m. And he actually picked up and I was like, listen, man, I was like, I was referring back to a demo he had sent me a few months back. We were just kind of maybe tickling at the idea of doing something, but not really. And I was like, dude, I could really use this right now. Like, going through a bunch of stuff. And he goes, man, me too. He's like, actually, it's funny. I already have, a few more songs than what I had sent you. And he was like, do you want to write lyrics to them and, mess with it? I was like, absolutely. And then after we did that, we shopped it out a little bit, just this EP to a couple of managers, got the manager. And the next thing you know, it just started kind of rolling one after the other. Labels were interested. We wanted to go with the right label. Thank God we found Sharptone. Shout out to them. But yeah, it was a hell of a journey, man. Hell of a journey.
But I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Lyrically, the album seems like the overall theme is about determination and hope and overcoming all these trials.
Absolutely. Yeah. And because the thing is the whole theory behind revenge, forgiveness, recovery is this kind of 3 stages, when you're going through something tough, something difficult, right? You kind of have this feeling of, it's a feeling of revenge. With revenge, you feel depression, you feel anger. And whether or not you make that choice, no matter what, you usually fall into a state of forgiveness. Usually people say forgiveness is the last bit, right? I don't truly believe that. And here's why. I think you can forgive someone, but you need to live a good amount of your life after you forgave them to really recover from what happened. Forgiveness is a thing where it's like, hey, okay, yeah, I accept what's been done and that's all right. But like, are you really living with that? And is it all right? Because once you can say that it is, I think that's when you're in a state of true recovery. And so for us, we kind of came together, not just as a band, but as like like family. I mean, you know, it's not common. Hell, just 2 days ago, you know, we were kind of, a few of us were together with quarantine restrictions, 6 feet apart, yada, yada, yada. But, you know, before all this happened and it was a normal type of life you could live, we would have barbecues with our own families intermingling and friends. And, you know, Kingsman was just very family oriented, not much just like, hey, let's get together and make some music. Like we have a message. We've all carried some weight on our shoulders together. And we're just trying to kind of promote the idea that, yeah, you're going to go through tough stuff in life, but you can get through it, you know, and there's so many different ways to get through it. And, you know, one of our biggest hopes is that if someone is unfortunately going through something, if they listen to our record and it changes something, if it shines some light into the situation that they're in, you know, that's the kind of story we want to hear about, because that means more than anything. I mean, it's one thing to have a bunch of people moshing in front of you and screaming lyrics, but it's a total other when you can connect to a fan and they felt what you felt and
Absolutely.
it helped them, you know?
Have you found that now that all this stuff is out in the world that it's helped you in turn? Like it's helped you?
Absolutely.
Reflect? Yeah.
It has actually, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, you get super excited. You're like, oh, I got this music and we recorded it. Now we have this imagery behind it and everything. And then as soon as it kind of started getting out into the world, I had a lot of reflection on myself. I'm like, wow, I was really personal here. You know, like I was like, I got to make that realization a little after the fact.
Yeah,
but no, I mean, honestly, I was excited about it, you know, and it did. It kind of helped me kind of learn, like, man, there's times where I'm listening to my own songs because I'm always my own worst critic, right? I'm always listening to the songs and thinking, I know I can do this better. I can make something out of this next time or something, right? But yeah, I mean, it's still sending messages to myself. You know, we all feel little moments of grief and sadness and frustration during our day to day. And sometimes conveniently, I'll be listening to my song during that time and it just makes something snap, you know? But yeah.
That's awesome, man. It's crazy how it can happen like that too. Like
Yeah. Any song.
Go,
I mean,
oh, wow.
yeah. Like, I mean, we've all had it, right? Especially
Yep.
metal. I feel like metal, rock, you know, that whole genre in general, like there's such a collaboration of emotions that goes into the music itself. You know, I guarantee that most people who are listening to this or whoever just considers themselves a music fan, they've probably had that moment where they're listening to one of their bands and all of a sudden that thought, you know, swings through their mind and then the lyric is said and that chord is hit the right way. And next thing you know, they're like, oh my God, you know, and they have that realization, you know. It's one of the most beautiful things about music.
Oh man, absolutely. And especially as you mentioned, metal, man, like I can actually go through my collection and pinpoint days and things where I've felt certain ways or an album that helped me get through that, you know, rock, metal,
same.
It's more than any other genre, I think. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I agree. I really do agree because it's such a cluster of emotions that go into it, you know. But
absolutely,
yeah, it's an amazing thing.
And of course, you know, I think the album's also got a great balance between, you know, the melodic, catchy hooks and, you know, sheer brutality. You know, what was the key to finding that balance between those two sides of the coin?
You know what's strange is it's like, you know, Tim and I, as the main songwriters, we always kind of sat down and looked at our songs and we wanted to tell a full story, right? Like we really did. We were like, hey, with this album, front to back, it's got to say something, right? So when making the music, we kind of look at things like, and this sounds strange, right? But like we almost look at it like in like textures and colors as opposed to like sound. And the reason why is it's like, you know, texture is a feeling, and then the color kind of always, certain colors like red, right, is a dominant, aggressive kind of tone, right?
Yeah.
So we always look at music and we're like, you know, what would that look like live if we were playing it first off? We always think of something like that. Not like we want people to reciprocate what we're playing live or whatever. More like if we played this verse, you know, that's going to make us feel uplifting. You know, we think about colors with that, blue and white or something. It's weird. We kind of think of color and music together. And then on top of that, we mix in emotion. So it's like certain colors will be automatically connected to certain emotions. Like red is anger, right? Blue, sadness, right? So we kind of think about those things when we're writing. And it's interesting because as we're going through each song and we're telling that little chapter of the story through each song, you know, each chapter will have its ups and downs. And so we really think about that. We think about you know, all right, if lyrically we're about to go to a part where it's like it's supposed to really be sad, we're going to think of something that's going to make us sound sad. So it might not be so brutal there. It's not going to be thunderous kick drums and, you know, crazy chugs. It's going to be more melodic. You know what I mean? It's going to be a little more maybe airy and spacey. And we kind of think of that when we're writing. Tim and I have a great balance of being able to communicate how he writes guitars with how I'm doing vocals. And then we kind of play together with some of the synths and the drums. But we, you know, we have a good understanding of, all right, you know, here's a riff. Now here's the vocals I have for it. Now the vocals might need the riff to do this just to make it feel like it belongs, right? And that's kind of like a little bit of into our writing process, I guess.
Is that your like studio space in the background? Is that where you do most
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
writing?
it is. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I do all my writing here. It's my keyboard here. I got my my other microphone here. Oh,
Cool.
and
SM. Yeah.
yeah. SM
Yeah.
Cinema. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually just using it before this.
Oh, awesome, man. Awesome.
I was yeah. We're making, you know, being that we're all locked up right now, I feel like every band on the planet is like, yeah, we're writing a new record. What else do we have to do?
I've got mine here
we're
too.
in that boat.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. Yeah. It's I mean, in regards to it, you did it in Nashville, is that right?
Yes. Yep.
I don't know where that is.
So
compared to where you
Nashville's
are.
like, I want to say it's 11 to 1200 miles from where I live. So
Okay.
we're like near Massachusetts. Nashville's kind of like the center of America.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That was actually interesting how we got that ball rolling. You know, Mark actually reached out to us after hearing a couple demos, showed extreme interest in the record, and we were looking for a producer that didn't want to just be like, yeah, man, I got studio time, come on in. You know,
Yep.
Mark showed the interest of like, he was like, hey man, like I can tell you guys are feeling a certain way. And Mark is a phenomenal producer because he's one of those guys that, you know, if he can connect to how you're feeling, he's going to really just push that full feeling to the front of the music, you know? And he just showcased so much interest and kind of empathy, you know? We had some kind of common situations that we could both relate from. Well, not both, but me, Tim, and Mark. We all kind of like had some stuff that we could relate to. For instance, very weird thing, you know, like Mark's daughter, her name is Emerson. Tim's daughter's Emerson.
Oh,
you know,
wow.
her mother's name is Taryn. My girlfriend's name is Taryn. It's like very, very just weird little things like that, right? But there was more to it that was more deep rooted and spiritual, I guess you could say. But yeah, so Mark was phenomenal, and we just decided to make the trip down there. We spent a little over a month with him, just kind of going over the songs, and he really kind of helped us find like a focus to, you know, our sound, I would say. And that was just an amazing experience, and I definitely look forward to working with him again in the future.
Did you pick his brains about like Cannibal Corpse and
everything, dude?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Kidding me, dude? Well, me and him had a lot of, you know, I was there for the whole recording process. I actually, fun fact, me and my drummer and a few other guys built a drum studio in his house. It was part of our record deal kind of deal. We did like a barter thing. Yeah, I do construction stuff with the restoration and all that. But anyway, so he, you know, we kind of got to know each other just because he was working on the drum room with us for a couple weeks. So did that, and then I came back to do the record a couple months later. But so it was cool. Our drums were recorded in the drum studio that we built.
That's awesome.
It's kind of interesting, right? But yeah, he's it was fun. And yeah, I mean, we spent so many nights like on the couch. He's a huge dude. This guy, Mark, is just a huge music fan in general. Like, it just doesn't stop with him. From the moment he's awake, he's listening to music, whether it's the stuff he's working on or the stuff he's enjoying to listen to, you know. And then like even at night when he's all done, he's throwing on, you know, old band videos of, you know, Metallica playing in 1986 or whatever, you know. We're just picking things apart. I picked that dude's brain clean, man.
Oh, dude, I would too. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I also like the video you guys did for Nightmare, where that chick is torturing you guys with the voodoo doll.
Oh,
yeah. At least you got to eat some chips, though.
Yes, I did. Yep. That's true. And they were delicious, actually. That was convenient. We didn't plan the voodoo chips thing. That actually, we just happened to go to the gas station while we were shooting the video, and we were like, no way. There's potato chips called voodoo chips? All right.
You know? What flavor were they?
It was like kind of like Cajun-y. It was kind of like, it was weird. It was almost like a Cajun mixed with like a salt and vinegar. They were pretty good, actually. They weren't bad. I wouldn't say they're like a top chip. What was that?
That was gonna be my next question. Do you guys have salt and vinegar chips over there, or is that just an Aussie English thing? See, I didn't even.
No. Oh yeah, no, we got salt vinegar chips, man. Yeah. Yeah, no, we have those. I mean, yeah, we do.
I don't get out much. There you go.
Yeah, no, me either, man. I mean, I've been trapped for months, brother. You know what I mean? But no, hey, we got that. You know what I've been dying to try, because I'm dying to go to Aussie, is Kangaroo. Because Mark, actually, when he reached out to us initially, he was in Australia. Well, I forget what band he was recording. Yeah, but he called me, and I'm like, what do you know, we're just talking. I could tell his mouth was full, and I'm a big foodie. I mean, you'll see that on my Facebook and Instagram and stuff. Yeah, and so I'm like, what are you eating? He's like, oh, I'm eating pulled kangaroo right now or something. I'm like, dude, what? I'm like, and he's like, you got to try it, man. I'm like, all right, well, that's like one of the first things I'm going to do when I get over there is find someone that has good kangaroo.
You know what? To be honest, I'm not a fan. I've tried it a handful of times, and I don't know. It's just,
what's it like? Like, what is it? Like, what is it?
It's hard to describe. I couldn't put it into words. Try it when you're definitely going to come down here and play.
Is it like, I imagine it's like kind of like gamey, like, you know what I mean? Yes. Like kind of like it is.
Yeah, I'd say it's more gamey. Yeah,
that's what I figured.
It's got, I don't know, it's got a very distinct sort of flavor, but that's maybe my, you know, I didn't dig it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a guy that, you know, when it comes to food, I'll pretty much try anything once, you know, depending, you know what I mean? Like, there's a fine line, but kangaroo, like, as I said, like, I'm definitely going to give it a shot, you know, just out of like pure curiosity, because that's just how my brain works.
We'll make sure when you do come down here, we're going to have some for you. We'll fire up the barbecue, and we'll
good. That's what I want to hear, man.
Yeah. We'll give you a proper Aussie and snags. We call them snags.
What's that?
Snags.
What's snags?
Sausages.
Oh, okay. I like
That's what we call it. Yeah. So if you come down, we go, I'll throw some snags.
All right. So, all right.
Yeah, there you go.
I might adopt that. That might be a thing now, because I'm a big sausage guy, you know. I like smoking foods, you know. So like I smoke sausage all the time. So I'll be like, smoke a snag, right? Is that what you'd say?
Right? We get snag on the barbie. Everyone thinks we say shrimp, but it's snag.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's all sausages. And then if you want a good snag, you go to what we call Bunnings down here, which is like a big giant, like a warehouse where you buy all your supplies for your, you know, outdoor work.
Like I'm trying to think of what you would call it. Yeah, like kind of like a big market. Like they got everything, right? They got the stuff for lawn, and they got food and stuff.
But it's more like they've always got these tents out the front where they do these charities where you have to go. It's one of those things where if you go to Bunnings or Bundos, as we call it, Bundos, everything has to end with an O's in Australia. Okay. You have to go get a snag. It doesn't.
Dude,
it's just if you walk away without one, you're gonna have a shit day.
I'm writing this down right now.
Okay.
I'm keeping this in mind, man. I'm gonna call you after. I'm gonna be like, dude, I'm eating a snack from Bunnings right now.
We'll get you one of the hats. There you go. We'll have
perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. I love it.
As I said, I don't get out much, but you guys at Rhode Island, that was where me, myself, and Irene was based. Is that right?
Yeah.
So I'm getting my head around.
Yeah. No, that's exactly where that's from, actually. That's funny, man. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, me, myself, Irene, Andre the Giant, if you know the wrestler Andre the Giant.
Yes.
Trying to think of who else. Rhode Island. Oh, HP Lovecraft. Lovecraft's from Providence, Rhode Island. Yep. Yeah. We got a couple of little famous guys. You know, hopefully Kingsmen will be in that conversation someday, you know, years from now. You know?
Absolutely.
All those famous people from Rhode Island.
Kingsmen.
Hopefully.
What's the scene like there for you?
Pretty good. You know, it's funny, man. It's pretty good. We've done a fair amount of traveling through the country, seen a lot of the local scenes and like the hot spots of our country, at least. And man, I gotta tell you, you know, I don't think as far as quantity goes, this is going to sound probably lame, but like as far as quantity goes, like there isn't as many people as like maybe like, you know, like in New York or in Texas or California or, you know, like Chicago and stuff like that. But the quality, man, I mean, Providence, Rhode Island has a very devoted scene of just music goers and musicians. I mean, everyone supports each other. Everyone's got each other's back. And it's rough because I feel like, in America in general, metal is just not one of the more popular musics. You got pop, you got country, you got all that other stuff that people are constantly. Oh, did I lose you?
Oh,
Sorry.
I'm here. Hey, you're back.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
No, but what I was saying is that, like, metal isn't a very popular thing. I would say, as far as, like, in retrospect of mainstream music in America. So, like, because you have pop and country and all that fun jazz. But I think, for Providence in general, like, our metal scene is just, it's a quality metal scene, man. And I'm very, kind of blessed to be able to be like one of those guys who, Kingsman's played with a lot of the touring bands in the last few years that have even passed through Rhode Island.
Yeah,
and
man.
so to kind of like show them like what we're about, it's been really cool, man. And to any band that's like out there that's going to be touring, in our neighborhood, dude, stop through Providence. It's worth it.
That's awesome. I mean, you've played some massive. You played with like Cattle Decapitation, Hatebreed, Devil Driver. I mean, even a couple of our own, like Amity Affliction and King Parrot.
Yep.
National. Sorry, you can probably hear my Labradoodle going crazy. Sorry, bro.
No worries.
But they're awesome bands. What's been the most important show for you?
That's a tough one. I think the coolest show ever for us was a few years back. We actually played with it was Chelsea Grin, Ice Nine Kills, who are friends of ours, also local guys too, to us anyways, local to us. Yep. It was them, Gideon, and Enterprise Earth, right? So we had only been playing shows for a couple months at the time, and I shouldn't even say that. We played one show, and within and it was our CD release, and it was a fantastic show. Our first show ever, there was like 500 people. It was fantastic, dude.
That's good.
Yeah, and this was a CD that's no longer out there. Just letting you guys know, unfortunately. But this was years and back. But what happened was we played, and then the Worcester Palladium, which is a pretty popular venue for the Northeast, reached out to us and said, "Hey, we want you to be the local opener for this Chelsea Grin show." And we were like, "Yeah, absolutely." So we showed up, and it was out of state for us, so it was about like an hour and a half away from where we usually are, and it was a sold out show. And we were very well aware that not many people probably knew who we were. But man, the reaction, that was the craziest show of my life. It was sold out. So at first you're like, it's going to be sold out when Chelsea Grin goes on, right? Nah, man. We did our sound check. We left, came back maybe 40 minutes later. Place was packed, wall to wall. 800, 900 people stacked in this place. And I was like, oh, okay. So at the time it was the biggest show I've ever played. I'm like, all right, well, here we go. And man, people were crowd surfing. The mosh pit was huge. I signed every body part you could imagine that night. It was just crazy, dude. It was just crazy. Awesome. It was definitely like a daydream. First time I ever felt like I was like, man, this kind of feels like being a rock star, because I'd certainly never felt anything close to that before. And I think that one definitely sticks out above all else, just for the sheer shock factor. It's like, oh, we're just opening the show. We're gonna leave and grab a drink and come back, and then we come back. We're like, oh God,
yeah.
Yeah. So it was cool.
That's awesome, man. So, of course, what's next for you dudes? I mean, I know it's hard to say right now, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, but I think, no matter what, we have a couple of music video shoots lined up to support this current release we just had. Yep. They kind of got pushed back because of everything happening right now. But aside from that, we had a couple songs that we wrote in between writing or finished recording Revenge, Forgiveness, Recovery, and then right until where this pandemic happened. But right when this pandemic happened, within a few weeks into it, Tim and I just really kind of just start grinding, and now we've got probably about another full album ready to go that we're confident with. And so 2021, we're really hoping that we get at least a few songs out there, maybe an EP, maybe a full length, who knows? We'll see where the tide takes us. But that's what we're kind of aiming to do, is get another release early 2021. So hopefully we can kind of have that to help bounce us through the year with touring, because we had some cool tours lined up, man. I don't even want to go into where they were and what we were going to do, but it was a total bummer to hear about how the industry has shut down. So we're really hoping that we can kind of recover from that next year.
And of course, come down, play some shows for us. Come
100%.
Bunnings Adventure.
Dude, we're going to get some snags together, man. Are you kidding me?
Absolutely, dude. Yeah. Well, thanks again for hanging out on the show, man. Kingsman Revenge, Forgiveness, Recovery is out now everywhere. I'll have all the links down here. stay safe, brother. And hopefully we'll get to see you guys soon for some beers when it's all done and dusted.
Sounds good, man. Hey, you have a good night. It was great talking to you.
You too, bro. Take care, man.
All right. See you, man.
Thanks, bro.
Later.